available in the digital flipbook. And after that, the students also learn about the animal from flashcards consists of animals with its habitat, then identify the type of interaction and something like that. And then after that, the students will visit a zoological museum and observe some species. Then they are going to create an informative poster about the species, including their characteristic, their ecosystem, their important facts, and also mitigation of the impact of climate change on the species. Moving to the second side is Javan Language Center. In the first group of Javan Language Center, the student teachers design activities in which the junior high school students analyze the thread of Javan language from the book about Javan language. And after that, the students are playing the game called Si Jalu, which stands for Si Javan language or Javan language in English, where the player should enter the map of Javan Language Rehabilitation Center and describe every stage of the Javan Language rehabilitation process. And after that, the students are presenting the information obtained from the game. And after that, the students create a report on the threat faced by Javan language and how to take part in its conservation according to the visit conducted to Javan Language Center. And in the second group of Javan Language Center, the learning goal is similar to those of the first group. And the topic is also about Javan Language Center, where the student teachers design activity for the junior high school students, that the students are analyzing the newspaper article on Javan language. Students are doing the worksheet using inquiry approach about the food of Javan language, and the students playing educate about the food of Javan language. And after that, after each group finished the worksheet, the students presented the result, and the students can access the barcode on the learning kit to check their answer, whether the answer is correct or not. And the students are directed to explore the virtual map of Javan Language Center to learn about the activities in Javan Language Center. And at the end, the students are going to visit Javan Language Center in person to have an authentic experience with Javan language and ask for the questions from the students. Okay, moving to the third side. The third side is Tea Garden, located in Malang area. For the first group, the topic is ecosystem interaction among living things in the ecosystem. And here is the activities the student teachers design for the junior high school students. The first one, students are accessing the flipbook and playing Bio Uno cards and Eco Patch, which identify the components of ecosystem and the interaction between the components based on Wonosari Tea Farm ecosystem. And second, the students are presenting about what they have learned through the game, and then the students are accessing the QR code for the worksheet about the importance of protecting ecosystem. And after that, students are creating a report or presentation on how to prevent or mitigate the impact of global warming towards the ecosystem to support this sustainable ecosystem. And in the second group, the topic is classification of organism in tea farm ecosystem. The activities arranged by the students teacher for the junior high school students are as follows. The first one, students are introduced with the concept of taxonomy as the background knowledge for them before doing the field trip to Wonosari. And after that, students are accessing the worksheet through QR code. Or through printed version, and also the students are presenting the result of group work, and after that the students are playing the snake and ladder, where the player should answer the questions related to the classification of living things according to Wonosari Tea Garden. And students are doing field trip to Wonosari Tea Farm, where the students classify the organism found in the site according to their kingdom and analyze the interaction between the organism in the farm and the important role each organism has to maintain the ecosystem. And we are going to the fourth side. The fourth side says Bajulmati's turtle conservation. For the first group, the topic that they took was about environmental issues, particularly related to sea turtle and also mangrove ecosystem. The Science Future teaches design some activities for the junior high school students, such as students observe the picture of marine ecosystem and identify the biotic and abiotic components. And then students analyze the environmental issues in coastal and marine ecosystem. And students play the sea turtle footprint game to learn about the process of sea turtle conservation. And also students play the Save Our Sea Turtle game, which consists of card and rollable media to learn more about sea turtle and also mangrove, particularly about their role and also human role in maintaining marine ecosystems. And in the second group, the prospective teachers design learning in which the students do group work for doing the worksheet and present the worksheet. And students are encouraged to read the sea turtle and mangrove book, pop-up book. And after that, students play the puzzle by arranging the puzzle, then answer the questions related to sea turtle and mangrove on the completed puzzle. And the question such as the effect of temperature rise on the sex determination of sea turtle, and the ecological role of sea turtle and mangrove, and the role of human being to balance the ecosystem, and so on. And the answer of the question can be accessed by scanning the barcode on the puzzle. Moving to the result of the student teacher's view, from the chart, we can see that most of the students gave positive feedback on the course, and the three items which got the most positive response were: as a future teacher, the course has raised their awareness of global sustainability issues and given them knowledge that will help them teach the sustainability issues later in the future. And the course has fostered their knowledge of the complex relationships between human activities and sustainability issues. And the third one is participating in the course has shown them the opportunities that network and out of school learning environments offer in connection with education for sustainable development. Okay. The result of the Likert type items match the response from the open-ended questions on the question related to the example of things the students have learned in the course that they consider adopting in their teaching. The most frequent answer was promoting education for sustainability, followed by out of school learning activity, as well as designing various type of teaching resources or media. And these outcomes are in line with the UNESCO's ESD for 2030 framework, which highlights that education should increase sustainability awareness as well as empower learners to act. And again, the out of class learning activity was mentioned by most of the students as the aspects particularly interesting or helpful in the course. In addition to enhancing skills or creativity in designing teaching resources, collaboration, integrating sustainability issues in the curriculum, and also project-based learning. All of the positive responses on the out of school learning activities that the students got during the field trips are in line with the findings corresponding research in line with the findings of the corresponding research such as mentioned by Kasumo and Adoy, that field trips aid in the development of social awareness and assist kids in understanding the significance and relevance of what they study in the classroom. And also out of school learning environments such as science center, museum, and labs promotes active participations, hands-on activities, and preparation have strong positive effects on students' time, interest, and learning engagement. And also, these strategies over an inclusive framework to enrich learners' learning experiences, cultivate their scientific curiosity, and foster profound and enduring appreciation for the details of science. Despite the students' positive response, they also express some aspects that they would like to learn more. And the most common response was the students' teachers' curiosity on the implementation of the developed teaching resources in real setting, as well as the evaluation of the effectiveness of the developed teaching resources. And these responses were unsurprising since the developed teaching resources was only piloted among their peers, not yet implemented in real setting. And the other frequently mentioned aspects was the integration of digital-based technologies such as AR, VR, as well as interdisciplinary collaboration with various stakeholders,
Iya, nggak
namely the
nambah-nambah
person
ya.
in
Maksudnya
charge
tapi nggak
in the
nambah
site,
ya.
as well as the pre-service
Kayak
science
kabel.
teachers. And these responses become valuable feedback for the improvement of the press course that we should allocate time for the
Iya,
student
udah
teachers
susah
to
ngobrol kayaknya.
implement the developed teaching media in real setting, and also related to the integration of digital technology in the developed teaching resources. Okay, here we come to the conclusion.
Iya
Among the
benar.
8 groups, all of the students successfully designed the teaching resources about ecosystem which aim to promote not only understanding about the component of ecosystem and its interaction, but also sustainability. And the groups design the activity in which the junior secondary students can experience direct observation at particular sites such as zoological museum, tea park, Javan Language Center, and also Bajul
Karena
Multi-Sea
ini nggak
Turtle
BKD. Oke ya.
Conservation.
Biasa ngisi
Or if it
BKD.
is not possible for the students to
Tidak
access
BKD.
them
Sampai Bu
on
Aning.
site, then the students are provided with the external resources such as worksheet, article, video with AR linked with the QR. And in addition to that, students are engaged to play some kind of games such as Uno, Snake and Ladder, as well as puzzle. And
Kemenak kan lain.
most of the student teachers gave very encouraging feedback on the course
Engkau
that
buping
all
kan
students agree and strongly agree to each item, as well as according to the positive response from the open-ended questions. And almost all students acknowledge that as a future teacher, the course has their awareness of global sustainability issues and given them knowledge that will help them teach about sustainability in the future return to teach in real setting. And this indicates that those non-formal learning environment are relevant for their learning in designing secondary school science teaching resources for sustainability. And despite the positive responses, they also express some aspects they would like to learn more. The most common response was the students' teacher curiosity on the implementation of the developed teaching resources in real settings, as well as their effectiveness. And these responses become feedback for the improvement for the press course in the future. Okay, if you would like to know more about this study, feel free to access it in the following article. So finally, I would like to thank Prof. Ingo Ats from University of Bremen as the coordinator of PRESS project who had given me the opportunity to take part in this project. And high appreciation also to Professor Maya Aksela and Dr. Uti Hatainen for the constructive feedback during the course, and also from my fellow lecturer, Dr. Dianu Graheni. Thank you for your support during the course implementation. And I also would like to thank the press project team from Klagenfurt University, Austria, for the evaluation questionnaire that have been developed. And last but not least, to all students of Science Education Department of Universitas Negeri Malang who had participated in the press course. I'm so proud of you all, and it was a great honor, great pleasure for me to be the part of this course with all of you. Thank you very much. Back to Dr. Ernie Yulianti. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nida, for delivering such an informative and inspiring presentation. Thank you. We truly appreciate the insight you have shared with us today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we now move into the Q&A session. If you have any question, please feel free to raise your hand and kindly introduce yourself. Okay, or you can drop your question at the chat box. Okay. There is one question from. Sorry, I can read the name. Okay, you can directly ask Dr. Nida by opening your mic.
Okay, thank you for your uh, questions. Time. My name is Muhammad Amin Rais. I came from Universitas Trunajaya Madura. I want to ask you one question. What you suggest the learning model or learning method by using the resource that you have been developed before? Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much, Bapak Amin Rais, for the question. What is the method or learning model suggested for the study that have been delivered? Okay, I highly suggest using project-based learning, such as what I did. So the student teachers should design a project about teaching resources for junior high school according to the field trip that they had conducted before. So in this case, it works very well. Thank you. Do you have any other feedback?
I mean, the resource of you have been developed and in application in the classroom for the students. Maybe we should use inquiry model or project based. What we have to do.
What we have to do with the student or the student teachers?
With the students by using.
I see. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, as designed by our preservist teachers or the science teachers, the junior high school students are also encouraged to do the field trip, and by doing the field trip, they can answer the question that is previously encouraged. For example, when they're going to zoological museum. Perhaps at first, before they go, they have some kind of questions in their mind about what type of animals available there and what are the roles in the environment, or what are the threats faced by the animals, because some of the animals are in the zoological museum are threatened, so they have a very like vulnerable status that we have to protect them, so something like that. And at the end, they have to explain more about the animals, the interaction of the animals in the ecosystem, their role in the environment as well as in the society, for example, and also to educate people, other people, be it their peer or their parents at home or anyone that they can post, for example, in their social media to educate them about that specific type of animal. However, there is some kind of what do we call it, drawback, or not all students can access the zoological museum, right? Because not many places have such kind of museum. That's why our student teachers also provide some kind of books where the students can access some information that they can find in the zoological museum, for example, or in other sites.
Yeah, that's very clearly. Thank you for your answer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Amin Rais, for the question. Okay, is there another question for Dr. Nida? Okay, let me check at the chat box. Okay. I think it's very clear from Dr. Nida. So all participants already understand about the topic from Dr. Nida. But Dr. Nida, may I have one question for you from me? Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
Make sure that I can answer
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because it is very interesting topic, very interesting topic, and then it is very related with our real world problem in the context education for sustainability in the real environment. Okay, and Dr. Nida, what were the main challenges from student or teacher that already developed your product, sustainability case teaching resources based on their field experience. Yeah. Okay. Maybe the
Okay.
Rita can share also the challenges.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the challenges mentioned by the student, because this course also involved science teachers, active science teachers, to get feedback about the design of the media, something like that. It is very difficult to have some kind of time for the student teachers to talk and to discuss with the science teachers, and we can understand that because the science teachers also are very busy, and yeah, that's the challenge, this challenge, and also to talk or to communicate with the person in charge from the site itself. For example, from the tea garden, Wonosari tea garden, it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, although some sites also are very open, but because yeah, we have to find a good collaboration with all of the sites to connect our students and also to them. That's the challenges. One of the challenges.
Thank you, Dr. Nida. So it is point at collaboration. Maybe when we make
Yes.
a good relationship and then develop collaboration, maybe will be smoothly.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right. Agree.
Okay, I think there is enough for Q&A session, Dr. Nida. So I can highlight two kind of conclusion from Dr. Nida's topic for today's plenary session. The first, the session emphasized the importance of bridging field experience with classroom innovation, particularly in the context of science education for sustainability. And the second, we can explore how student teacher can be empowered to design meaningful context-based teaching resources that address real-world sustainability challenges. Okay, once again, thank you, Dr. Safatunida, for the excellent presentation. And before it, operator can help me to share the certificate for Dr. Nida to appreciate her very insightful and very meaningful speak today. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your participants. I'll give back the time to MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Annie, and all the committee.
Thank you, Dr. Saputra Nida from Universitas Negeri Malang Indonesia for the speech, and Dr. Eni Yulianti, SPD, MPD, PhD as moderator. Thank you for sharing your expertise in this session. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue our session with the third keynote speaker. Please join me in welcoming Prof. Maya Asula from Helsinki University, Finland. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Maya Asula, a renowned chemistry education and research from the University of Helsinki, Finland. She holds a PhD in chemistry, a licentiate in organic chemistry, and a master's degree in chemistry. Her dedication to science education has earned her numerous accolades, including the Nokia Award 2020 and the Global Best STEM Award for Europe 2018. She has also been honored as Science and Teacher of the Year. Dr. Asala currently serves on Finland UNESCO Advisory Boards and was the founder and director of the International Star Lunar Program for 2016-2023. Her international collaborations span countries like Argentina, Chile, and Mexico. With over 400 publications and research focused on student-centered learning, sustainability, and innovation in science education. Okay, so please join me in welcome Dr. Maya Axel.
Selamat siang, good afternoon. It's my great pleasure and honor to talk today at your great conference. Thank you for your kind invitation. As we all know, sustainable energy is one of the biggest global challenges today. The big question is how to engage youth and teachers on sustainable energy education. Today, it's my pleasure to share our experiences from Finland. Shortly about my background, I have been over 35 years in science education and educated future teachers and teachers at schools and done research also in science education. Sustainability education is one of my favorite research topics. We are trying to find out different kind of novel pedagogical solutions, how to engage on teachers and also the students on sustainability energy and promote quality of education. We are trying to find out collaborative solutions through co-design and co-creation and trying to find out them from different perspectives, ecological, economic, social and cultural perspectives. We trust on collaboration. We say that collaboration is key for success. In our Finnish LUMA-STEM model, the collaboration with different partners are in the center of our work. We started to collaborate 21 years ago from University of Helsinki and try to find out different kind of models how to promote this collaboration, and sustainable energy has been one of our topics. In Finland, it's in a law that upper secondary schools should collaborate with universities. And energy is very good integrated topic, and we have tried to find out this kind of pedagogical solutions, how to collaborate closely face to face or through online. Our role as university is to promote scientific literacy in climate change for all. And if you think sustainable energy, there's a lot of scientific knowledge every day going on or published. There are a lot of different kind of scientific methods. There are a lot of scientific questions and also ethical and moral questions. And if we ask young people, they like to know more about how science, technology, and society are collaborating, what kind of solutions in sustainable energy uh, can be made, and what kind of careers can they have in future. We trust on learning through sharing. In our Luma STEM network nowadays, it's 11 universities and 13 centers. We are developing research-based solutions for it. We are supporting teachers and their vocational development, and we are also trying to find different ways how the children and youth can engage on sustainability and sustainable energy. About 10 years ago, we built first online MOOC course and for about sustainable energy. At that time, we were co-designing it with scientists and engineers and also with teachers, and we also listened to young people. And our themes of this course was sustainable growth, solar power, wind power, biofuel production, and smart power generation, for example. And it was an online course, 38 work hours. There were introduction videos, interviews of scientists and engineers, lecture videos, reading materials on newest research, and also multiple choice questions on the topic. And in this, our study, 80 voluntary young people around the world who were at least 15 years old took part to this course and also 2 surveys at the beginning and the end of the course. And our results shows that the school students with choice-based learning and expanded their learning opportunities in understanding sustainable energy. You can find out this article from web. It's free of charge. This summer we started the Luma Stars program, and in this program, these young people are co-designing with us the program and topics. And this summer we were choosing sustainable green energy as a main topic and sustainability. We are listening to their voices, hopes and questions, shape the content and develop the program. And it's also our research study. We want to understand its relevance and how it promotes the scientific literacy in sustainable energy and also promote the understanding of climate change. For example, they visited Professor Timo Repo's research group, and they were studying how they study hydrogen storage and what kind of methods and what kind of results and what kind of questions do they have. And they were discussing with scientists and learning together and sharing their thoughts and learning with
other young people. And we have also built other courses where, for example, circular economy is also in the central. And we have tried to promote systems thinking in those contexts.
Nggak dingin ya, soalnya kipas dia ini.
And when we are building these novel solutions, we are using this kind of design-based research as a framework. So co-designing this program with teachers, scientists, young people, and then testing them at universities or schools. And then finally we get also scientific results about their learning, but also those pedagogical innovations. And then we are updating them to teacher education. And sustainability, sustainable energy is one of those topics that we have built novel ways.
Iya, dia minta gini kan.
Another example is International Teachers Climate Change Forum. We built about 8 years ago. And there are teachers, scientists, engineers, and young people can meet each other around the world. It has been face-to-face and also online. And sustainable energy is, of course, one of the main things. We have built 17 Luma Labs to different universities. The oldest one is Luma Lab Gadolin. And for example, this hydrogen energy is one of those topics going on. We are trying to open to youth and teachers how hydrogen energy are in general in sustainability and what kind of research and solutions is going on. We have also study visits to university and in context of sustainability, and as I said, energy is one of those topics. But we have also online study visits. Finland is a huge country. We have a lot of villages around Finland, and it's important that we have equal opportunities for all. So that was shortly my talk today. As a summary of my talk, we trust on collaboration, co-designing together with teachers, scientists, and young people. We think that it's important to listen students' voices and also teachers' voices, and that's the way how to engage them on sustainable energy and also promote their interest in science and its learning. We have published ebook. It's also free of charge and in English, and you can find out different kind of solutions. We are using social media, and we have also web pages in English. Thank you, Terima kasih, for this possibility. I hope you have fruitful conference. Keep in touch. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Professor Maya, excellent for your speech. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is our great honor to present a certificate of appreciation to our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Maya Asela from the University of Helsinki, Finland. We deeply appreciate your inspiring presentation and valuable insight, which have enriched our event and broadened our perspective in science education. Thank you, Professor Maya Axela from Helsinki University, Finland, for the extraordinary material and knowledge from our speaker. Thank you for sharing your expertise in this session. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with the next agenda, we kindly ask participants to complete the attendance form. The attendance link will be shared in the Zoom chat. Please take a moment to fill it out, and this is important for our documentation. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the last keynote speakers of today's agenda. Please join me in welcoming the keynote speakers, as Professor Andre Adewale from University in London, Norway, and Mr. Indra Fardani, SPD, MSc, ML, PhD as moderator.
Okay, good afternoon. Good morning, Norway time. Dr. Andrew. Okay. As we start faster. Okay. Thank you for Professor Maya Axela for that insightful, valuable discussion. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues and guests. Welcome back to the next and last plenary session. Our next session promises to be particularly illuminating as we turn our focus to energy and emission tax related to sustainable development. And it is my distinct pleasure to now introduce our next presenter, Dr. Andre Adewale Alola. I hope I didn't wrong. Okay, spell your name. Okay. And we have Dr. Andrew CV. Operator, please. Okay. Dr. Andrew PhD is from the University of Inland Norway, Norway. And next, he has many. He named as Stanford top 2% global scientist list since 2020. It's very amazing till now. And the Faculty Scholar of the Year 2019 to 2020 Istanbul Jerisim University, and he also write book The Casual Nexus of Major and Accepted Currencies in Academic Studies and Commodity Spillover Effect in the United States Insight from the Housing, Energy, and Agricultural Community Market. Okay, I think Mr. Andrew, are you ready to give the presentation? Yeah. So, without further ado, please join me in giving very warm welcome to Dr. Andrew Adewale Alola. Dr. Andrew, the time is yours. Okay.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to grace this occasion and to have a keynote speech on. And thank you for the introduction as well. So I'm not going to waste time in talking about this guy. Who is he? About the education qualification of this guy. He got a short course in life cycle assessment and quantifying environmental impacts from MIT, a PhD in economics, MSc applied mathematics, and BSc also in mathematics as well. And about the employment history, currently full-time faculty at Center for Research on Digitalization and Sustainability at University of Illinois, current fellowship and research collaborations with Istanbul, Nisantasi University, Applied Science Private University in Jordan, Federal University of Agriculture in Nigeria. Previous fellowship include Lebanese American University, University of Johannesburg, South Africa, South Ura State University in Russia. Previous full-time employments also include the University of Vasa in Finland, Istanbul Keleshim University as well. And what has been the activities of this person? He's been doing research in economic development, energy and environmental economics, and other related works. Teaching as well, graduate, undergraduate level, supervision, editorial work with journals and revision tasks. Award including being ranked among 2% global scientists by Stanford University, best faculty researcher in year 2019, 2020, Istanbul Galatian University, best article of the year, Association of Energy Engineers, and his hobby include playing chess and love to travel. So, and the guy is Andrew. So I am the one. Just give a brief round of information about myself. So, and I'm here today. Thank you once again. The International Conference on Science Education, which scope include sustainable energy education, environmental science education, STEM education for sustainability. I was opportune to listen to the previous guest speakers, very insightful speech as well, which were mostly in the area of education, which is quite in line with the conference theme. The aim of the conference also, which is to bridge the gap between education and research. And the theme is promoting sustainable energy and environment. So my own talk this morning or this afternoon in Indonesia is going to be in the area of sustainable energy and environment, which we all know that is very crucial. We desire to have a quality environment because without a quality environment, we won't have a healthy life. So if we don't have a quality air to breathe, we are not guaranteed to have a healthy life. So that is why it is quite important. So I'm going to just move straight away to my presentation, which is the keynote title is on energy transport tax and passenger cars emission. So I would have loved to ask the audience how many of you have used passenger car, use your own private car, and how many of you? A follow-up question will have been, how many of you have diesel or benzene fuel car or EV cars? So just to be able to see where we are, as individual. The EV car is not, of course, not quite accessible to most people in different parts of the world, especially in developing countries, because of the cost. We know the cost of EV car is, of course, in so many countries there are subsidies, credit tax, just to ensure that people have access to electric vehicles or hybrid. But still, it's still on the high side. So I'm going to talk about that. The energy tax and transport tax, which is these are two types of environmental tax. We know that there are all kinds of tax. For instance, for some of us who work and you earn monthly salary, you do pay tax to the government, relevant authority. So sometimes your income tax is deducted from your salary. Okay, so we in one way or the other pay tax. And we often also pay different kind of taxes. So if you earn salary and you pay income tax, somehow if you use car, you also pay some kind of tax. So it could be transport tax, it could be energy tax, and there are other environmental kind of tax. We have resource tax, we have resource tax, and we have four different kind of environmental tax. So I'm not going to talk about those other two. So I'm going to just stick to energy tax and transport tax and the relationship with carbon passenger car emission. So, and this is a journey. We're going to go through the background, objective of what we are discussing, and investigation. Because this particular topic is on a specific case. So this is on a specific case of a study we did, and which I found so relevant for this conference, and that is why we are here. Now, what is the case? So we'll talk about the case, which is taking us from the challenges of where we are in terms of passenger cars, the opportunities and prospects. So first, let's look at the problems and challenges. In the EU, for instance, and maybe for like EU and the United States, these are economies that have successfully have or experienced decline in greenhouse gas emissions since 1990 in different sectors. But in the transport sector, I often say that the transport sector is possibly the most stubborn sector among all the economic sectors. The transport sector is a sector that hardly had significant decline in greenhouse gases. So if you talk about the service sector, the industrial sector, some of the industrial sector, for instance, you will see there had been significant decline in greenhouse gases, which we know that the greenhouse gases is one major source of environmental degradation or environmental pollution, as you may say. So, but the emission from the transport sector has not really had that kind of a significant decline in the last years. So, and that is why this, we're looking at the case of the transport sector is quite important. So that is a challenge, that is a problem, and that's why we're looking at it. And we also know that in the EU, for instance, European Union, road transport account for 77% of the total EU transport greenhouse gases. And whereas among that, we have 25% of the total greenhouse gases across sectors as well. So the road transport is crucial to this discussion. So what are the prospects then? What are the prospects? Where do we see ourselves? What are the things that we aim to achieve? Currently, it is reported that we have about 75% increase in the number of battery-only electric cars. So there have been some kind of a scale-up penetration of the use of EV cars. So in the EU, since in the year 2020 alone, it was recorded that there have been 70% increase in that. And by the year 2050, EU target is to reduce transport emission by 90%. Is that possible? Possibly. And that will only be possible if some of the policy measures, being put aside by the EU are successfully implemented. One of that is carbon emission standard of automobiles, car labeling. So if some of those policy measures are able to yield fruitful results, then some of these targets won't be far-fetched from this part of the world. Then the typical case of this study is considering the passenger cars. So we are not talking about all kind of cars. We're talking about the passenger cars. That is the car that you use for your private engagement. For instance, you have your small family cars. You drive to work, pick your children from schools. So we're talking about some of these cars. And we're going to look at two cases, two scenarios. The first scenario is we'll look at the passenger cars that have, countries with the highest number of passenger cars in the EU. Then the second scenario will be countries with the lowest number of passenger cars. So in the EU. So when we say the lowest number of or the highest or the lowest number of passenger cars, so I'm talking about if you pull out 1,000 people, for instance, how many people in this 1,000 have a passenger car? So if you look at the first scenario, those in the highest number of passenger cars, we will say that Luxembourg is the highest. So out of 1,000 people in Luxembourg, you have 682 people who have passenger cars. In Italy, 670 out of 1,000 people. In Poland, 664 out of 1,000 people. That is significant enough. So this group of countries, we group these categories of countries as countries with the highest number of passenger cars. So, and the opposite side, which is the right hand of the screens, are those with the lowest number of passenger car, which is Hungary, Latvia, and Romania. So those are the two scenarios this study look at. So, and what is the novelty? So, I mean, what is actually new that we are talking about? What is new that we're talking about is that we are looking at the role or the impact of what is the effect of energy and transport tax. Don't forget that we are talking about energy tax and transport tax, which are one of the two types of environmental tax. So we are looking at if actually the policy of energy tax and transport tax in the EU is able to kind of reduce emission from not just ordinary emission per se, but now emission from passenger cars. So emission for passenger car first in the countries with high number of passenger car. Also, we'll look at that again from countries with low number of passenger cars. And that is what is new in this discussion. And because in the literature, uh, there have been all kind of studies about how we can mitigate greenhouse gases, how we can improve environmental quality, or maybe on the transport sector. But this is the first time that we'll have a study looking specifically on the role of energy tax, transport tax on passenger cars. And that is what is actually new in this. So, and we anchor their study or the experimentation on some of the previous studies on environmental quality. PIGO, for instance, and PS, for instance, once studied, they are first early studies on environmental tax. And the role of environmental tax has actually been studied for so many cases, so many reasons, based on the early studies of PIGO and PS. And if you talk about environmental impact from all our activities, for instance, we are all on Zoom now. We, in one way or the other, also possibly having some level of environmental impact because we use our laptops, our desktops are being powered by electricity. And the electricity, depending on the source of what is powering our electronic gadgets, we are also having some level of environmental impact as well. So, and that has also been studied widely. So we base our investigation on some of these theory, previous story. So this is more like the framework of what we did. We did the data selection, did some initial tests, and moved forward to conduct the mean estimation. So by the way, what we did is that we applied econometric tools to reach our objective. So, this is the information about the data set that we use. We try to employ variables such as economic growth, population, greenhouse gas emission from passenger cars, energy tax, transport tax. Some of the main variables that we are really focusing on are the last two, which is energy tax and transport tax. But we have to use the first two, which is economic growth and population, because these are key, vital environmental impacts quantifications. So there is nothing that we, I mean, as human, because we are also source of environmental impact. So all our activities are sort of related with economic activities. So, like I said, we power our desktop, our laptops, we use our cars. All these are sort of related with the economy itself and the population. So the amount of environmental impact that we cause is also a function of how many people we are. So when you have a small space or a small country with small number of people, they should have less environmental impact, for instance, compared to a country as huge as United States or China, for instance. And that is why currently China is the biggest emitter of carbon dioxide emission. Of course, that is expected because of the population. So population is very key, and this is why we can't do this type of study, this type of investigation without considering our population. So what we did is to focus on the two main variables, energy tax and transport tax, but we also control for other variables. And so I'm going to just move straight to what we have as a result so that we can have time for question and answer. So don't forget we have two scenarios. The first scenario is to look at the case of high passenger cars, that is countries that have highest number of passenger cars. The second scenario is for countries that have the lowest number of passenger cars. So if you look in the screen, you will see that economic growth, which is the GDP, in both cases, either for scenario one and scenario two, is significant, especially in the second scenario, almost all, but maybe in the mid or mid quartiles, there is no level of significance. But I'm going to just talk about the main variable, our focus, which if you look at the second column by your right, sorry, by your left, in the scenario one, which is the transport tax, TT tax. So you will see that because the asterisk means significance symbol. So in that second column, there is no significance. It means that the transport tax does not necessarily have any form of effect on greenhouse gas emission from passenger car in high passenger car countries, in the countries that have highest number of passenger car. So the tax on transportation does not necessarily have any significant effect. And when we move to the third column on that same scenario, which is e-tax, you will see that it does have n negative, that is minus, and you will see there seems to be some kind of increase from the top to bottom. That is, when you move down the quartile, when you increase, when you move increase rightward to the along the quartiles, you will see that energy tax sort of reduce greenhouse gas emission. Is that expected? Yes. And this is why you will see that in most countries across the globe now, according to United Nations Climate Change Convention, there have been some kind of encouragement to all countries to phase out fossil fuel. Okay, fuel from benzene, for instance, diesel, for instance. These are sort of source of environmental pollution. So, and this is why the price of these commodities are increasing by day or by year. Because now there is more awareness, urgency to transit from that kind of energy, that kind of source of fuel to renewable source of fuel. So that is why energy tax has sort of increased over time across so many countries. And this is also expected because one of the things the policymaker think the right thing to do is possibly to levy or to continue to increase tax just as to discourage people from using that form of energy source. Not only for driving, for instance, these energy sources are being used in the industry, either to power some of their machinery in the industry, for production activity in the industry, in the agricultural sector, for instance. So, the use of energy tax has been discouraged, and that is why you see it here. So, the more it means that the more there is an increase when you have increase in energy tax, then the carbon dioxide from passenger car will decline, and that is understandable. You will also see in the last part in that scenario that population does have a positive impact, and that is also expected, which I will not necessarily talk about that. I've talked about that before, that when we have more people, it is expected that there should be more emission being generated. Either you are talking about carbon dioxide or the greenhouse gas emission. So more people is synonymous to environmental degradation. So when we look at the second scenario, so in the second scenario, you will look at the transport tax. Both the transport tax and the energy tax in the second scenario does have significant impact, but in the opposite direction. You will see the transport tax does have a positive direction. That is, the higher the transport tax, the higher the greenhouse gas emission, which is not actually expected. But that can be explained also because the transport tax, it does not necessarily target the type of energy or the type of energy source. So when we talk about the transport tax, it could be tax that is even on even EV, or electric vehicle, for instance. So because it doesn't really target the type of energy we are talking about. But the energy tax, you will see it is a specific tax on the energy, and that is why even in the second scenario, it does have a negative impact as well. So I will just also give you what, moving on from that quantitative stuff, this is just a visual of what I've just said. And you will see in the first, the top left corner, you will see that is the transport tax. Okay, so that is actually not significant in the first scenario, and you will see that is just more like a balance between the positive and negative. So it doesn't make much. There is no significant impact. When you look at the top right corner, which is the energy tax, so you sort of see more of a trend going down than up. So, which is just to show the negative impact of energy tax on greenhouse gas from transport sector. And you look at the bottom image for both the economic impact and the population impact, you will see sort of a positive trend, which is also aligned with the quantification I just showed you. That is, economic activity as a result of robust economic growth and population increase are further causing environmental degradation. And that also shows similar visuals for the second scenario as well. So what we did was also to do some kind of robustness, and see if what we have in this robustness examination is the same from our main examination, and it actually gave us the same thing. When you look at the transport tax, also, if you can see my cursor, you see there is no significant impact in the first scenario, also in the second scenario. So I'm going to just summarize the implication of this study. So the implication of this study, I will go back to the main result. The implication of this study for transport tax. We'll see that in those countries with high passenger cars, the transport tax doesn't actually have a significant impact in reducing environmental degradation. And possibly the justification for that could be that because these are countries that have quite significant number of passenger cars. So possibly the transport time might not be significant enough or might not be significant enough to discourage people from using fossil-based cars. So, and this is why we are not seeing such impact. But for the energy part, energy impact, energy tax impact, that is quite understandable. And for the second scenario as well, we'll say that the transport tax does have a significant impact. This can be explained by because if you say this type of countries in the second scenarios, countries like Hungary, Latvia, for instance, Romania, for instance, so these are low-income countries in the EU. So for low-income countries in the EU, any amount of tax could be no matter how small it is, that could be a kind of a burden for those users. So, but despite that, the transport tax does not actually reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So possibly in this type of countries, the transport tax in this type of country are sort of very, very low. So, and that is why we are not able to establish a desirable impact of the transport tax on this. And this is the what is our policy take home from here. So we have what I call a scale up policy recommendation. Scale up in the sense that we saw that energy tax in both two scenarios are so significant. They are good at reducing greenhouse gases from passenger cars. So if that is the case, so what decision makers should do further is to scale up how these impacts will further be complemented, scale up in the sense that there should be increase in awareness. People should be made to know, or people should be made to buy into the idea of transiting from fossil fuel to renewable energy or clean energy across sectors. But in this case, we are talking about the road transport sector, the passenger car. So that could be some kind of tax credit, for instance, green credit for people to be able to adopt and use EV, which is quite sort of expensive still in so many European countries. So the government can do more in this way. There are, for instance, there is the Chinese EV cars, which is already having huge acceptance even across both European countries and in other markets. And so these are some of the partnership that some of these countries could go into. Policy complementarity, that is on the part of the transport tax. So you will see that the effect of the transport tax is that in the first scenario there is no effect, but the second scenario that is not desirable because with the transport tax, the greenhouse gas emission is also still increasing. We don't want that. So what should be done? So there should be some form of complementarity. Some of this type of tax, which is the transport tax, could be complemented, for instance, with some kind of policy, new policy introduction. That could be in the area, for instance, of tolling some specific road, for instance, just to discourage the number of people plying that road and sort of reducing greenhouse gas emission. And there are different kind of taxes that are associated with transport tax. It could be for car registration, for instance, or reuse, for instance. So some of these framework can also be looked at in order to have a responsible impact from the implementation of tax policy. And the last one will be investment and innovation. I mean, there is no end to investment and there is no end to innovation. So one of the things I will actually say that the most important policy or most important framework that government will not want to shy away from is the idea of consistent innovation. There should be consistent innovation, irrespective of whatever topic or whatever sector or whatever activity we talk about. If we talk about education, we talk about service industry, agriculture, there is no end to innovation. So there should be more kind of collaboration both between public and private, and even between public and even household. You know, so because if there is a new innovation, the users of this innovation are the people. We are the users of this innovation. So if there is an innovation and the people will not want to use that innovation, there is no use. So there should be partnership either between private, public, even household, individuals on new innovations and even investment in new innovation. So those are a group of policy
Ambil dulu yuk.
recommendation, and that mark the end of my presentation. These are the references that we have used, and I will say Terima Kashi.
Berapa lama?
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to my presentation. I really want to appreciate Professor Habidin. I also appreciate the university management, Universitas Negeri Malanga. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Laptopnya? Iya, iya.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Alma, for very crystal clear presentation. I'm not economic, I don't have any economic background, but now I understand some concept of environmental economics. Thank you so much. Okay. We'll now open the floor for questions. Is there any question? You can raise your hand or books. Is there any question or comment to Dr. Lola?
Laptop aja. Tadi dompetku bunga.
I think the similarities between Indonesia and maybe lower income or middle to lower income country in the European Union, maybe we still on the owners, the car ownership is still on the side similar with lower income country in Europe. So we also here we have also some tax incentive factors. For example, if you buy a diesel or benzene car, the tax will be more expensive than if we buy electric vehicle car. And we also have subsidies. For example,
Pusingnya yang luar biasa udah buat analisis tengah mati,
government will
coba
give
update
more
suhu ini
subsidy
lagi, ya
for
Allah.
people to who own the electric vehicle, or to cut subsidy for person
Kami
who
banyak,
use.
ambil aja
We have
nih,
two
makan
type
ini
of
dia.
benzene, subsidized one and non-subsidized one. So I think also. And about the transport tax, I think Indonesia still has no schema about transport tax. So I think, we agree with your finding that maybe by taxing the ownership, it will make people move to electric vehicle. However,
Tapi
because
kue
it's
kayak
still
gini cepet basi
middle to low
bunga.
income country, the ownership of
Tahan
EV
volume
car is still low in Indonesia. However,
Everywhere. Yeah.
but electric motorcycle is different. We have because we use motorcycle than car. Okay. Okay, Doctor Alala, we have one question from.
There is one question here. Excuse me.
You can answer.
Yeah. Okay. How do differences in taxation policies across countries impact emission in the transport sector. Yeah, I think what is the name? Prophet. Okay, I don't know the name. So this is a very important question. This person who asked this question asked, I would say, maybe one of the most important question in according to IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Because COP, there is always these COP meetings, almost year in, year out, to be able to bring countries together, to harmonize ideas, and to be able to agree on policies that could be accepted as universal. And till now, there are a lot of issues in having a universal kind of policy. So, for instance, it's not possible to have some kind of a tax policy that is universal, and that is obvious because when you look at a country like Norway, for instance, which is a high-income economy, compared to Romania, for instance, which is a low-income economy, you can have the same kind of tax policy. So, and because you can have the same kind of tax policy, also you have differences in their economy as well. You have an economy that is very high in terms of income. You have other economy that is very low in terms of income. So, because of this heterogeneity, I mean, these differences across countries, it's really difficult to have some kind of universal policy framework across countries. And this is one of the arguments from low-income countries or developing countries, most countries from Africa, from Asia, for instance. Because I have friends who will say that the developed countries, they've used the fossil fuel in the thousands of years, hundreds of years ago. They've used the fossil fuel to develop their countries. So now they are here, they've already developed. Now they are saying, okay, we don't want to use fossil fuel because they've used this. They've used this advantage. So, and these countries are saying, okay, because you have used this advantage, you've used this fossil fuel, okay, if you don't want us to use fossil fuel to develop ourselves, because energy is important, everyone need energy, either dirty energy or clean energy, we all need. So people from the developing countries are saying, okay, the developed countries give us money, give us incentives, give us credit. If you give us credit, then we don't use diesel, we don't use benzene. Just give us credit. So this is actually the main problem. So to answer the question, of course, each country, I mean, the approach has been that each country should do that according to their prowess, according to their capability. So, if a particular country, for instance, country A, thinks that we are able to implement an energy tax of, let's say, 2% or 3%, so be it. But if another country thinks, oh, we are low-income country, the citizens cannot cope with 2% energy tax, so we can possibly with 0.02. That is also understandable. So, but what is the consequence of this? The consequence of this is that you are not going to have the same kind of outlook. For instance, when some countries are saying in 2050 we want to have net zero by 2050, then another country, because of these differences, will say, oh, we are not able to have this type of target. We can only have net zero by 2000, by, for instance, 2080. So these are some of those challenges across the globe. So the fact is that it's a function of access to climate. I don't want to use the word climate. Is a function of access to, let's say, green finance, for instance. There should be money. If there is money and good management of resource or the fund, then there will be a way out. But the fact is that for we in economics, and we believe it's general, we believe that resources is limited. So we don't have enough resources, and because this is the I would say, the central problem or the central challenge of human. We don't have enough resources to manage, and that is why whatever we have, we just need to manage it in a way to suit what we intend to achieve. So, to answer the question, there won't be universal kind of success. We don't expect same level of success universally, but with good commitment from all countries across the globe, there could be some kind of incremental kind of relative success in terms of environmental policies across the globe.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Awal, for the answer to the question. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, Dr. Awal. And maybe, Dr. Awal, any final thoughts or comments?
Yeah, so I just want to appreciate the organizers of the conference. I want to appreciate the university for putting this together. Of course, it's more like an interdisciplinary conference, education, industry, service industry, energy industry. This is a very relevant conference, and I just hope that the university will keep it up and continue to have this type of engagement, which is actually very good. Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allah, and please give warm applause and reaction from Dr. Allah. And now I would like to present an appreciation certificate to Dr. Allah. Committee, please. Thank you so much, Dr. Allah, and please welcome in next teacher conference. We welcome you. And now I will give back the session to the presenter. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Orang pada mau masuk. Banyak yang mau pakai ruangannya.
Thank you, also Prof. Entry Waliallah from University in Norway for the speech. Thank you for sharing your expertise in the session. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with the next agenda, we kindly ask all participants to fill in the attendance form. The link has been provided in the Zoom chat box. Please take a moment to complete it, as it is important for our event documentation.
Orang pada laptop aja yang penting, laptop HP ya.